So, no, I'm laughing.
You did it.
She makes me laugh. She laughs every time. This time I laughed.
Because I didn't laugh.
So we are in the middle of an adoption process right now. And we're super excited about it. But all along through this process, even beforehand, we have had the desire to want to document our process. And a lot of that has even been more important to us as we've gone through it, because we've realized how little we've known about what adoption really looks like. And had we learned some of this stuff a few years ago, it probably would have changed kind of a path and different ways that we would have gone about it. So we want to just document some stuff just to help others who may be like us, who desire to adopt one day, or maybe people who are just curious about the process, or maybe need some encouragement to see that there is a need for this and that other people are doing it as well, and it can be done. So we're going to start with just talking about why we have the desire and felt called to adopt, and then also why right now we have decided as well. So for me, it felt like probably in my teen years, I don't exactly remember a specific time feeling like, oh, I want to adopt. It just was something that I felt like I always wanted to do. And as I've gotten older, I've understood more and more about, I think, the reasons why. We started dating when we were 16-ish, and so, but all along our conversations were always about adoption. Anytime we talked about having kids and stuff, we always talked about wanting to adopt. There was never like a specific moment that we discussed, hey, would you want to adopt or whatever. Just, I don't remember that conversation.
No, we were always on the same page, thankfully, and it was never like a, I don't know, I guess never a disagreement or anything, but.
Yeah, so we've always kind of felt led to do that. And a big reason why, and I'd say the main reason even, is the gospel is essentially is how God sent his son, Jesus, to make a way so that we could be in his family and we could be children of God. And obviously there's way more involved in that. But that is a beautiful picture of what adoption is. God adopted us into his family. And so what better way to be able to show God's love by also adopting a child who does not have a family of their own. And so the Bible talks often about taking care of orphans. And so we want to do that. We want to help meet a need, and there's a tremendous need across the world, in our country, even state. There's a need all over the place for children who need families to love them and help to raise them and point them to Jesus. And so we wanted to be a part of meeting that need, and we felt like that God could help us to be able to do that. And so that leads us to why now. And we started having kids now. It's been a little over 8 years because Jackson is 8
and a half.
8 and a half.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So we had obviously, like I said, talked early on about adoption. I think it was after our second was born. Just a couple weeks after, where Tim said, you know what, babe, I think this is it. I think we're done. I think, from here on out, we're going to adopt. And we'd always wanted a big family, so it was never like, that wasn't the issue. But I think I just remember like sobbing when he said that. I just was not ready. I was like still snuggling my newborn and thinking that I would always want to have a newborn in the house because they're just so wonderful. And at that point, I was just not there. And so I knew I wanted to have more babies. And so we had number 3, and then...
Well, actually, before that, she was wrestling with the world for a while, and there was a point in time where she kind of got on board with that idea, where I was thinking, well, maybe this is right. Maybe we're just supposed to adopt. And so we actually went to one class to adopt when we were living in Florida.
We started a foster to adopt class.
And then within, I think, 2 weeks, we found out. Like, we went there, and then we came home for something, or came back to Georgia for something, and then we found out we were pregnant with our number 3, Wyatt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we had number 3, and then after that, I think we kind of were both on the same page with, like, all right, I think maybe now's the time. Now's the time. So we were obviously intentional with trying to not get pregnant, and no, that didn't happen. So the Lord had other plans, and if you could stop doing that. So we had Merritt, number 4, and we are now so incredibly thankful and just love him to pieces and don't know what we would do without him. So I think, obviously God knew what he was doing when he gave us Merritt. Mm-hmm. So now Merritt is 3.5. And then when he was about 2 is when we started really getting intentional with research and just trying to figure out what we wanted to do and what route we wanted to take. And I think we had this picture of what we thought it would all look like in our minds, and what we're actually doing is, I think, like the complete opposite of that.
A lot different.
Because we just had no idea. We just thought like, yeah, well, this is what we're gonna do, and this is how it's gonna go. And as we just got each step into the process, I don't feel like it ever was really like okay, let's sit down and we obviously we're discussing along the way, but it was like God just kind of like put the steps in front of us, and so we just kept saying, all right, well, like we'll go here, or we'll do this, and we'll do this,
Yep.
and so it was never like all right, let's change directions kind of conversation, but more like I think this is where He's leading us. Like I think this sounds good.
Yeah.
So
Which is a lot of why we want to do this, because a lot of that stuff was just by education. Some doors were closed that we thought were options, and they were not options for us. And we'll talk about that probably. The next one is kind of why we chose the path that we did choose. But really why right now what's good is Merritt got a little older. We finished our rehab on our house, so we finally felt like we caught a breath. And then we felt like we were at a spot where we were ready to start this process. So continue to pray for us, please, and we'll keep you updated on kind of what's next for us.